Yo, J Mott back with another video. And just cruising down the road, going to get my little girl right now. And just looking at some of the fights coming up. And I want to talk about Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. And this is my question about this fight. Could this fight actually suck? They've been putting a lot of hype on it. Oh, it's going to be the fight of the year, but let's be honest about this fight. It has the possibility of sucking. And why do I say that? Well, look at Izzy's last fight. He completely laid a goose egg. That fight was up there with Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou. It was right there. Those two fights are some of the two worst fights I've ever seen. You know, Israel Adesanya in that fight has put all the blame on the boring performance on Yoel Romero. Oh, he wouldn't fight me. He just stood there. He wouldn't. But what other fights has Yoel Romero been in that have been boring? So let's go back before we say that all the fight was because of Yoel. What other boring fights has Yoel been in? Him versus Paulo Costa, that wasn't boring. Him versus Whitaker, that wasn't boring. Him versus Jacare, not boring. Him versus Tim Kennedy, not boring. I can go on and on and on. Romero's not a boring fighter. He's an awkward, strange fighter. But let's look at some of Izzy's performances. I mean, he finished the show at Brad Tavares, but it took him a while to get going. The Anderson Silva fight to me was boring as hell. Seemed like a glorified sparring match. You know, and if you look at the Kelvin Gastelum fight, what made that fight exciting was the fact that Kelvin kept coming forward. Let's be honest about Israel Adesanya. The dude fucking runs. He runs and he runs and he runs. He circles, feints, jab, touch, circles, feint leg kick, circle out, reset. Feint, move, switch steps, feint, leg kick. Circle out, reset, circle out, reset. Feint, change stances, feint, leg kick. Jab, ooh, double jab. Feint, circle, feint, switch, feint, switch, jab, miss leg kick. This is what Israel Adesanya does. And what he seems to do is he kind of gets behind in fights in a lot of ways. Like in the Kelvin Gastelum fight, that's why it was exciting in the end, because it was 2-2 going in that final round. And when Israel wants to, he can turn it up. I mean, the guy's got skills, but in that fifth round is really what made that fight. It was a very close fight. I had a 2-2. They both had hurt each other bad in the rounds they won, and Israel had to win that round, or he wasn't going to win, and he turned it up, and Kelvin was going for it, and Kelvin opened himself up to some bad situations, but Israel actually put some pressure and came out fighting that last round. Same thing with the Tavares fight. Same thing. I mean, Derek Russell. It takes him a while to get going. You know, he's got the ability to close the show, but it seems like in the fights that Israel Adesanya tries to take the safest route in the fight, not putting himself into any danger unless he's behind and he has to close the show and he has to finish it. I'm just not an Adesanya fan. I think he's good. Is he the best striker the UFC's ever seen? I don't think so. Kelvin knocked him down and hurt him real bad. Almost finished him in the fourth round, I think it was. Let's not forget that. I can't stand the guy, man. He's queer as a $3 bill with his pink hair. You know he's loving on men in the back room. If not worse, his faggoty dancing. The guy's just queer, man. In more ways than one. He's queer all the way around in every sense of the term. I don't enjoy the guy. You know, he's like a poor man's Anderson Silva. Anderson in his prime would have destroyed Adesanya. Let's be honest. Put Anderson Silva in his prime versus Anderson Silva in his prime versus Izzy in his prime right now. Anderson would have destroyed him. Straight up. He would have destroyed Israel Adesanya. I don't find the guy to be that special, you know, but they got to hype somebody. And that market right there, that Australian market's a big market. And Robert Whittaker, they had him in there, but him knocking out, Izzy knocking him out really didn't hurt because they're both going to fall to whoever's from that area of the world, be it Australia, New Zealand, wherever. But, I don't know. I'm just scared that this fight is going to be Paulo Costa coming forward and Israel circling. Feint, jab, feint, leg kick. Circle. And that's what I'm scared this freaking fight's going to end up being. And if it is, I'm going to be highly upset. You know, because Paulo's going to try to bring the pressure. But, you know, Costa would be stupid to do nothing but pressure. He needs to, you know, but he said he's not going to chase Adesanya in this fight. And, you know, I see Izzy laying back, counterpunching. That's how I see him. I don't see him bringing the fight at all because Paul's going to try to bring the fight forward. But, you know, that could be bad for Costa because Costa could get caught. But Costa's got a chin on him. You know, Israel Adesanya doesn't have a chin on him. If he gets caught, Izzy will go down. You know, he's been knocked out a few times in kickboxing, you know. And Kelvin's a hard hitter, but Kelvin hurt him bad in the 4th round when he had slowed down. And, you know, Yo Romero hit him with some good shots that kind of buckled his knees a little bit. So if Paulo catches Izzy, he can put him to sleep. But Paulo, as hard as a hitter as he is, he's not a tactician really. You know, they put them together in swarms. You know, but as far as being a pinpoint accurate striker, he is not. He is just a brute brawler. He comes forward and there's so much pressure and there's so much volume of heat coming at you. Something's landing, and especially when he's digging the body. He's a big dude, but he's not that, you know, he really isn't that tactically proficient of a striker. He's not, his accuracy isn't great. You haven't seen him just landing one-punch KOs. I haven't seen any, but it's an accumulation of volume of hard shots. So, which is strange because he should be able to knock you cold one hit with all that muscle, but it comes down to technique more than it comes, you know, and accuracy more than it comes down to power. But anyway, I went a lot longer in this video than I thought. What do you think about this fight? Is it going to be an interesting fight, or are we going to get another snooze fest? Are we going to see Izzy run, or are we going to get an actual good scrap? Let me know what you think in the comments. Have a good day. God bless. Peace.